Hello, ghosties. I'm Chance Lee,
And I'm Amanda McAvoy.
and this is That's So Gothic, a movie podcast about girls, guys, and haunted houses. You know, Amanda, I would rather have watched the 1995 Mel Brooks comedy classic Dracula, Dead and Loving It, but instead we're talking about Nosferatu.
Come to me. Come to me. I've never shared my secret with any soul.
You have had these spells since childhood. Tell me what you can from the beginning.
It is like a dream. It was our wedding. When we turned around, everyone was dead. The stench of their bodies was horrible. Standing before me was death. But I'd never been so happy.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. Its desire is to consume all life on Earth. Only you can redeem us. He is coming.
There is a devil in this world, and I have met him.
But you could never please me as he could. I'm ready.
Released last month, December 2024, Nosferatu was written and directed by Robert Eggers, and it's based on a 1922 silent film of the same name, which itself was just a plagiarized version of Dracula. It stars Bill Skarsgård as Dracula. Nosferatu.
Oh,
And Lily-Rose Depp as Mina. Lucy. Ellen. Nicholas Hoult as Jonathan. And I can't do this bit anymore because I don't remember any other character
No.
names.
No.
It also features Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Emma Corrin, Ralph Ineson, and according to Wikipedia, Romanian TikTok personality Bunica Gergina.
Oh, who were they?
She was the elderly lady at the Transylvanian Inn.
Oh, good for her. Well,
She is this old Romanian woman, and there is a TikTok of her making cherry cake that has 750,000 views. I don't know why.
hi. Well, as we're recording today is the day that TikTok is officially banned. So, but in the United States, so I hope she is living her best life
I
wherever she
know.
is. I'm so sad I missed that.
I was surprised. So I was able to look at her video this afternoon. I went to
Oh,
TikTok.com and I thought it wasn't gonna be accessible, but it was.
yes. Okay, good to know. Hacking the
Mm-hmm.
system to get your
She,
Romanian cooking TikToks.
yes, she picked the cherries off her own tree.
Oh, it's lovely.
And the captions attempt to subtitle her as if she's speaking English, but she's not. So they're just total gibberish.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But this is a movie, and it's the
Mhm.
story of a vampire pursuing a woman and killing her friends just because she's horny.
Yeah. Yes.
So, as of January 19th, 2025, Nosferatu has made $156 million worldwide
Mm.
against a reported $50 million budget. It has an 84% critical tomato and a
Wow.
73% popcorn meter.
Mm. I'm not surprised.
I have two reviews to share
Mhm.
from noted film criticism website, google.com. And Katrina Wolf in the comments, because you can comment on movies on Google.
Mm.
She says, I hope that this gets the recognition at the Golden Globes, BAFTA, and Oscars, etc. Lily-Rose Depp was outstanding. Bill Skarsgård absolutely owned the count. Nick Hoult equally nailed his role. All the cast were sublime. The sailor in a minor scene was excellent.
Wow, she had a great time.
I don't even remember a sailor.
Me neither.
Oh, it must be
Um,
when they're on the
the
boat.
meter? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Huh.
And then this review's wild. So this is by someone named Amit Bachani, and he says, I'm going to be completely honest and state right off the bat, Nosferatu is not for everyone. I live and breathe film. So my words on this movie might come across as a film bro giving a highbrow take, but objectively, this is a true work of art in every measure.
Neat.
He says, if you're a Robert Eggers fan, or like I am, or just someone who appreciates great cinema, I'd even go as far to say that this is not only one of 2024's best films, it's one of the best films ever made. It's a masterpiece in every sense of the word and the gold standard for what a film should aspire to be. It's perfect in every way. Bill Skarsgård's portrayal of Count Orlok beyond award recognition. He's that good. This is the same man who played Pennywise, and his range is insane.
His range is weird, creepy, tall dude.
They're like the same character.
Exactly. I'm sorry. That is not a good review. Like that is not a good point to make.
Yeah, Amit really drank the
Wow.
Nosferatu Kool-Aid. And
I'm very happy that a lot of people like this movie. Like, I guess it's nice because, it's nice seeing people appreciate this more. I'm trying to give it better praise than I feel about it. It's nice to see people appreciate a movie that has a lot of artistic interpretations and is sort of, a representation of like a traditional Gothic movie. Like I guess I'm happy people like it. Like I am. Also, I feel like I've said this to you a couple of times. I felt like I was getting gaslit when I walked out of that theater and I didn't love it. And then when you texted me and said that you didn't like it either, I was like, "Thank God." I was like, if Chance had texted me and said like this was like the best movie I'd seen in years, I would have been like, okay, something was clearly wrong with my brain the day that I saw it because every single thing I see online is about how this is a masterpiece and this is going to go down in history as like, uh, and I just, it's so, anyways, I'll digress for now because I'm sure more things will come up. So,
maybe, maybe not. I feel the same way.
yeah,
I don't understand why or how people think this is a masterpiece.
yes. I, because I think the worst thing about this movie is that it was fucking boring. It
So
was
boring.
boring, and we just watched Birth, and we just gave that a huge praise, and that is a super slow burn, like,
Hmm.
long stretches without talking, like, that movie is probably considered boring, so, like, I'm telling myself that we have the capability to appreciate movies that aren't, Fast and the Furious.
Hmm.
But it's fucking boring, and I feel like I realized today when I was really thinking about it, this movie is so devoid of personality, I
Yeah.
think that's my biggest, and maybe that's why people like it, is because I I don't want to sound pretentious or like, but we literally do this podcast where we talk about Gothic movies and we think sort of out of the box about what Gothic means. And, so I guess maybe if you're not constantly exposed to it, getting sort of this very like SNL interpretation of a Gothic movie,
Uh-huh.
like maybe this is exciting for you, but to me, it just has no personality. It's a PowerPoint presentation of a Gothic movie. And that's probably the most pretentious thing I've ever said, but I just don't like it.
It's true though. All the characters are just ciphers. They're just there to be horny
Yeah.
girl's husband,
Hmm.
vampire.
Hmm.
Tell me anything else about any of these characters.
Right. Seriously.
I don't even know their names.
No. Lily-Rose Depp is, I mean, I think she did a good job. Y- I don't know Lily-Rose Depp that well. I don't know if you've ever seen anything she's been in. Um, I almost feel bad because she definitely had an expectation to live up to, since I think it's very obvious. I mean, she did replace Anya Taylor-Joy, and Anya Taylor-Joy is a juggernaut, and she's also
Mhm.
worked with um Robert Eggers a lot. So I can imagine she had a lot of pressure on her. And think she stepped up to the plate. Um, but I made the joke to you about, before seeing, or maybe it was right after I saw it, but before you had seen it, I saw an interview about how she said that she based her performance a lot off of Isabella Gianni in The Possession. And it's funny because, you could look at that and go, what? That's like cool and, like a neat place to take inspiration from. But when I watched the movie, it was like, yeah, girl, we can tell. Like it's a knockoff.
She doesn't have a character to work with, so her
Hmm.
character was her choice was to impersonate a character from another film.
Mm. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This is one of those movies where I say the director gave, one or two directions, and it was
Mm.
spasm more.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That's all she does is she twitches.
She
So I
twitches, and
can't
she looks forlornly, and yes, she's always it's like, and it's I everyone in this movie doesn't know how to speak. They all need
Mhm.
speech therapists. It pissed me off so much.
If you're gonna have a character that frowns this much, at least cast Florence Pugh.
Right? That's true. Yeah. Need a
Then
better
we just
frowny
get
face.
the, like, yeah, iconic Few Brown,
Yeah.
the Few Brown for 2
Yeah,
hours. The Few Brown.
exactly.
This movie's over 2 hours long.
Mhm. It's very long, and it feels that long.
I feel like silent films were a lot shorter. I wanna
Mm.
see how long the original Nosferatu is.
Thank
Did you ever
you.
see the silent film
Yes,
Nosferatu?
and I love it. Like, I think it's, and maybe, that's part of it is I would, I don't know, I just feel like commit, make it a silent movie, like, I don't know. I love the original Nosferatu, but it's short. It's like under an hour, right?
It's hour and 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a nice short, very concise. I mean, it's it is what it is, and I like it.
This movie doesn't commit, though, you're right. It doesn't commit to
Mhm.
being black and white either. It just is
Yes.
desaturated.
Mhm. Yep, everything is just, and so are you a Robert Eggers fan? Do you like his
I've
other movies?
decided after this movie the answer is no. I really liked The
Yeah.
Witch. I
Yep.
liked that movie a lot, and then I
Yes.
was underwhelmed by The Lighthouse,
Uh,
bored by The Northman, and
mm,
Nosferatu made me just fall asleep.
Genuinely upset. Yeah. I love him, and I liked sort of this vibe in The Northman. I love The Northman. Um, and I think that that movie did a good job with this sort of like desaturated, gritty vibe.
Mhm.
Like you said, I wish they had just committed one way or the other with Nosferatu. Um, Like, I think it would have been cool if they filmed it in black and white and maybe had, like,
Mhm.
pops of color or something. Um,
Mhm.
and, like, the red of blood, because that's the thing is, it's desaturated, but it's not black and white, but the blood isn't very vibrant. I don't remember a lot about the movie. I don't remember there being a lot of blood or
I don't think so.
anything. Yeah. Um, yeah, they should have committed.
There's not a lot of anything. There's a lot of very slow camera
Mhm.
movements. I remember
Yes.
one time a character goes into a hallway and she looks down the hallway and the camera just very slowly pans down the hallway and looks for
Right.
a minute at nothing.
Mhm.
And then instead of cutting back to the actress, it has to pan all the way back to the actress. And she's just
Mhm.
standing there looking.
Right. Could you
And
imagine
then we
doing
just
that in real
move
life?
on.
Yeah.
There I don't know if this was his attempt at building suspense. Are we supposed to
Mm,
think that something's gonna happen?
right.
It never does, though. Nothing ever happens. There's a few
Yes.
cheap jump scares, one of which
Mhm.
woke me up from a really good nap, so I'm pissed about that. I had just fallen
Hell,
asleep, and, like, it
yeah.
woke me up, and I was like, "God damn it.
Could have slept through more.
I could have slept through more of this."
Yeah.
It was too
Yeah.
boring to even sleep through.
Mhm.
I slept through The Lighthouse too, so Robert
Mm.
Eggers is a good sleepy time director for me.
I will agree. I think his movies are very good to catch a nap at, but yeah. I mean, I was so excited for this movie too. Like I was hunting for the Nosferatu coffin popcorn bucket. I couldn't find it.
D Oh,
I honestly considered ordering it online for like $60. I'm glad I didn't. Like I was so hyped up for this movie, and the marketing of this movie was great. The marketing killed it,
it
but
has a really good poster,
has a really good poster. But yeah, just major letdown.
and the poster is very black and white and
Mhm. Mhm.
but what more well composed than the movie.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple other cast members. We
Mhm.
have Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, whom someone on Letterboxd described as looking like Rasputin's corpse.
Honestly, yeah, I mean, I feel like that almost gives him too much credit, though.
He's barely in it.
He's barely in it, you get a full frontal, which is pretty cool. Um, big mustache, which so I didn't like the mustache. A lot of people are defending it because 'cause they're like, "Oh, Vlad the Impaler had a mustache," and it's like, I don't know, fucking stupid. Like, mustache is stupid, the voice was stupid, the acrylic nails were stupid, he wasn't scary. He just and I had said this to you, but it my opinion was kinda tainted after watching Shadow of the Vampire, so just wanted him to have a little bit of humor to him, and he was just devoid. He was devoid of humor, he was devoid of personality. There's nothing.
He's nothing.
What is his motivation? Lily-Rose Depp is a beautiful young girl, but, like, I don't know. Isn't, like, the whole point of him is that he has, like, a ton of, like, female I don't know. I just don't he just doesn't do anything for me.
It made no sense.
Mhm.
She was really horny as a teenager and somehow
Yes.
summoned him.
Yeah.
And then some years later, which I think is what the title card said, we have no
Yeah.
idea. sh-
Right.
Uh, he comes back and just wants her. And her
Right.
solution to the problem is just to have sex with him until the sun comes up and fries him on top of her. The end.
Mm. Yummy. Because in the original, like, Dracula and Nosferatu, isn't it implied that, like, she looks like his dead l love or something? Isn't that
That's
the
what they did in the Francis Ford Coppola one. I don't know if
Oh,
that's canon or not. I don't remember. It's
yeah.
been so long since I read
Yeah.
Dracula. I'm not sure if he even really was all
Or
that
maybe
like, if she was his focus in the book. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea, but I don't think that that was the motivation, and if it was, I hope it was done better because I just felt Nothing.
It felt like watching the Francis Ford Coppola movie at times, because
But it
she was
felt
just in a house by herself, and
yes.
she would get these she would almost, like, telepathically understand what he was doing. It was just like
Yes.
Winona Ryder.
Right. I I honestly would rather watch that one, the Francis Ford Coppola, just because at least it was a little bit campier. I like
Mhm.
there is a moment in this movie. I'm sorry, I'm going off topic from Bill Skarsgård, but there's a moment in this movie where Lily-Rose Depp, you get a shot of her back, and she's wearing this plaid dress, and the lines, she has a seam going down her back, and the lines of her dress don't match. And 2 things. You could excuse it and go, "Oh, it's, historically accurate. They didn't actually care if the lines matched up, back in the day." But then, like, B, I like, I don't care that it's historically accurate or, like, a minor detail, like, it took me out of the movie so much. The seam was clearly created by a machine. It was so tight that of course it was, like, it pissed me off so much. The costuming in this movie actually pissed me off. I get that it was actually pretty historically accurate, but it was so boring. It was so drab. Again, like, I get that that's what they were going for, but there was just absolutely no relief. And, like, I'm saying all of this, and I understand that that's the point, but it just it I can't describe it. Like, it just pissed me off.
It can be the point, and the point can suck.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
The point sucks. There
Point
was
sucks.
a moment of unintentional laughter in my theater
Mhm,
when I don't remember the context. She's in one of these loudly patterned gowns that she's
mhm,
wearing. In my mind's eye, it's like little spots, but I don't
mm,
remember. She's on the floor for some reason. I don't know why.
mhm,
I don't even know what other characters in this scene with her.
yeah,
And the character, I think it's a man, he walks away, he looks back, and the camera shows her from his perspective, but she's on the floor, but the dress is all the way up to her neck and completely covers her body, and she
yeah,
kinda looks like a reject May Queen. Like, it just looks like her head sticking out of this mound of fabric, and she looks like this little goblin sticking out of it,
yes,
and people in the theater laughed. It was not supposed to be a funny scene.
yeah,
And there were a couple times in the movie where I a character would say something, and I would think to myself, "Was that a joke?"
right, yeah,
But none of it landed.
yes, yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any intentional humor in this movie, and again, you don't have to have humor in a movie, but, I just keep going back to the same point, it was that there was no personality.
No, it's okay to take itself seriously, like Kenneth
Yes,
Branagh's Frankenstein takes itself so seriously, but that movie has so much personality to it because it
exactly,
cranks the volume up to the max, whereas this one turns it down. I mean,
yes.
ironically, because it's based on a silent film, but, like, there's just nothing there's no there there.
Yes, I just kept waiting for, again, like, the Francis Ford Coppola, like, at least one scene that would give me that, Lucy coming down in the wedding dress feeling. It didn't have to be that, but just one scene that was, like, a standout. And I think for a lot of people, the scene that was her possession scene, like, ripping her dress and everything, but it just didn't do it for me.
No, it needs to be a spectacle of some
Yes,
sort, and it's
right,
just not.
yeah.
Do you know who was originally cast to play Nosferatu according to the internet?
Ooh, no.
Harry Styles.
Oh, my whole tune would have changed. I I love Harry Styles so much. Um, oh, that would have been so funny, like, I can just picture, like, him, like, rising out of the casket and being like, "Boy, going to America, innit?" Like, oh, I would love that. Oh, man. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess I can't imagine exactly how it would be, but I read somewhere that Bill Skarsgård like almost damaged his vocal cords doing the voice. You might have even
Oh,
told me this. Oh, maybe not
I
then.
don't think so, no.
Oh, because so maybe I read it somewhere because then I saw like a comment under it that was like, it wasn't worth it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, just modulate it with technology.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
even
No,
understand what he's saying.
I don't either. Like, and again, it's yeah, it's accurate. It's supposed to be spooky. If Dracula actually spoke, he would probably speak with that accent, yada yada yada. But like, it doesn't make it good.
Correct. It does not make it good.
Yeah.
We have Nicholas Hoult in this as well.
hmm
I think he's a little cutie, but he again had nothing to do in this movie.
Yeah. I, I I think actually when I first talked to you about it, I said something about how I don't like Nicholas Hoult. Because he's definitely very good at playing like a smarmy asshole type. Um, and the more I've thought about it, the less strong that feeling is. Yeah, I do think I like him. And I think he actually might be one of the better parts of this movie. I like his like frantic muscle running. That's pretty good. That's like one of the few things of the movie that I like remember and actually felt like there was some tension. Not a lot, but some.
Yeah, that section where he's in the castle went on for so long.
Yeah.
I fell asleep at least once, and when I woke up, it was nearing the end of that segment, but I was thinking, is this movie black and white? Because it had
Yeah.
been devoid of color for so long.
hmm
I was thinking that I thought it was in color. Wasn't it in color when it started? And I
Yeah.
was just so confused. And then Nicholas Hoult jumps out a window, and the barest
Mm,
hint of like the blush of the sun shows through.
yes.
And I thought, oh, okay, this is a stylistic choice.
Yes.
And last but not least, we have someone who played Count Orlok in another
hmm
movie, Willem
Yes.
Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe, my main man, my main squeeze, the love of my life. And I love him in this. I mean, he just plays Willem Dafoe. He plays crazy, you know, like kind of creepy old man who like is very like, but you know, he's at least interesting. What else can you say?
By the time he showed up, I couldn't even care about him.
Exactly.
And the Shadow of the Vampire, which we've done an episode on, you can go
hmm
back and listen to that. I didn't think was a good movie, but he is very good in it, so it's still watchable.
hmm Yeah, I wondered be so interested. I wish I had looked this up if there's any like interviews with Bill Skarsgård talking about working with Willem Dafoe, like in his experience. Um, because I would be so interested to know what advice, because he had to have at least some point, given him some advice on how to play the character.
Right. It had to have come up.
So I'm so interested to know what that is.
Well, let's talk about the Gothic elements of this
Mm-hmm.
film. The Gothic elements that we like to discuss are the girl, the guy, the house, and the haunt. The girl in this movie is Ellen.
Mm-hmm. Lily-Rose Depp.
I don't think she's a good Gothic girly because our Gothic girls generally are trapped against their will
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, but she just decides to stay. Like,
Yeah.
she could just leave. She
Yep.
could go somewhere else. She
Yeah.
could try another way of fighting him without
Right.
sacrificing herself for no reason.
Right. Yeah, because like I'm thinking again, I don't remember how the original silent movie ends. Um, but like or Dracula, but I'm thinking like even if she just had like a wooden stake next to her while he's on top of her, doing like one of these.
Right.
Um, I don't yeah, she just again, like she just doesn't stand out to me as anything. Um, I do like how big her forehead is in this movie. That's very cool. And it looks really
It's
good when she has on those bonnets.
it's very large. She has a very alien face.
Yeah, it's
She
very
kind of looks like
instinct.
Splice.
Yeah. God, she really does. I mean, she's a
Hmm.
beautiful girl, but yeah, she does kind of look like Spice.
Yeah.
Um,
Who's her
yeah.
mother?
Her mother is a model, and they look identical. Um, her mother is
Vanessa
French.
Paradis? Paradise?
Yes, Paradis.
Paradise.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like she doesn't
Oh
look like Johnny
yeah.
Depp at all. Like I feel like she's just her mother reincarnate.
The mother
Yeah.
has the Splice face as
Yes.
well. The
Yeah.
the big forehead and the refined
Bones.
cheekbones.
Yeah.
She also has a gap between her front teeth, which even lends more to that like splice down the
Yeah,
middle
yeah.
of the face look.
Um, but yeah, what's her name? Helen? Yeah, she just doesn't.
Ellen,
Ellen. Oh, I'm so
like
sorry.
DeGeneres, yeah.
Too generous. Yeah. She just doesn't do all that much.
What's her motivation?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess she's just depressed, which honestly fair. Usually when I'm depressed, I don't feel like leaving my house. So that's it. She's just gonna stay and wait for the vampire.
Yeah. The vampires are Guy,
Mm-hmm.
Nosferatu,
Yeah,
Count Orlok.
on Orlok. I think we've kind of made our feelings known about him.
Does he ever? Are there any scenes like? So I fell asleep pretty quickly
Mm,
in this movie, so I really only saw him lurking in catacombs and
mm.
jumping out of dark places. Does he ever go out kind of looking like a person?
No, I don't
Okay,
think there's any scenes of him trying to be a part of like society.
okay, because he
Yeah.
literally looks like a corpse.
Right. Right. Yeah, he doesn't have the who plays Dracula in what's his name in Francis Ford Coppola?
Gary
Uh,
Oldman
Gary Oldman. He doesn't have any of the Gary Oldman in the top hat and the crowd scenes.
or Leslie
That dude.
Nielsen and his cape.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't I don't think he has anything like that.
Mel Brooks could never parody this movie. Like that's how bad it is. There could never be a Nosferatu dead and loving it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It could. I could see someone spasming a lot and making that funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
Like get Anna Faris in there. That would be hysterical.
Oh, she would be so good.
She would be really good.
She would be. She has that like high-pitched whiny voice that would be good for it.
And I bet
Yeah.
her spasming would be hysterical.
I bet so too.
Well, Mel Brooks somehow still alive. He's like 99 or something.
Oh
So
my goodness. I didn't
maybe
know
he's
that.
got some juice left in him for that.
Yeah.
We have a couple houses. She's in a
Mhm.
house.
She's in an apartment.
Nosferatu's in a house, a
Yeah.
castle. Oh, is hers
Yeah.
an
I
apartment?
think it's an apartment. Yeah.
Is she staying with her friend?
Oh, so I think they live like she's in an apartment with Nicholas Hoult. And then
Okay.
yeah, she goes and lives with um Aaron Taylor Johnson and Emma Corrin,
Yep.
who we didn't really talk about them. We don't really have to because again, there's not a lot to talk about. But they took me out of the movie so much. I
Oh,
love them
really?
both so much, like so much as actors. I don't know what it is about them. Lauren Taylor Johnson, we just talked about it in the last episode. I brought up the term iPhone face, and I don't
Mm,
think that applies to them because they've both done other performances that I've liked where I've I've been sold on them, not living in like the modern age. But something about their styling and their actions in this movie specifically
mm.
gives me iPhone face vibes.
They have two very annoying, poorly acting children. As in the actors are not good.
Yes.
Not that the children misbehave.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, they do have a house and it's a pretty nice, um, I don't know, house. You don't get a lot of like establishing shots, which is
No.
really depressing and sad. Um, because even like Count Orlok's castle, you kind of get the iconic scene of him coming up on it in the carriage, which by the way, again, we didn't get into. This carriage just shows up without a person steering it, and he's
Mm.
like, "Sweet." That was the first self-driving car. He got into the first self-driving Uber. Um,
Count Orlok
and
is the corpse of Elon Musk.
yeah, that explains why he like jumps out of the coffin is because
Hmm.
Elon Musk loves his jumping. Um, but yeah, you don't get like a lot of really good establishing like point of view shots or like wide shots. Like I'm thinking of the scene where they're in the dining room and you don't really get a sense of what the dining room looks like because you're just kind of focused on them at the table with the fire behind them. Um, yeah.
There's no sense of scope, sense of scale.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Count Orlok's castle is a real castle. It's called
Mm.
Corvin Castle, and it's in Romania.
Ooh.
And you can take a Count Dracula themed tour of the castle because Vlad the Impaler was once imprisoned there, and he is
Mm.
the basis for Dracula.
Pretty cool.
And most of it they shot on location, so that is nice if you could see it better.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Our haunt vampires.
Vampires. I don't really, and rats.
They used real rats.
Yes. Yeah, I saw something about I don't know if it I think it had to have been from this movie where Willem Dafoe was talking about how much he liked working with the rats, which feels really accurate.
He would.
He would, you know. I but yeah, a lot of rats.
I like when there's a live animal in a movie.
Mhm. Yeah. There's a great scene where Count Orlok's like little minion bites the head off of a pigeon. And then the guy standing in the doorway, like a solid couple of beats later, is like, "My God, man, why would you do that?" Like, it's very funny. That's one of the only parts that I was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny." And also that little, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic, but that guy scampering away is a very funny scene too.
His running was really
His running was really
goofy.
funny. Yeah, he was one of the more enjoyable parts.
I did kind of like him. He doesn't
Mhm.
really nothing. He amounts to nothing.
Yeah.
The critic for RogerEbert.com, Matt Zoller Seitz, gave this movie 4 out of 4 stars.
Wow.
And I did want to read part of his review, though. He says that this movie gives you a stronger sense than any previous vampire movie of the dread that, quote, civilized English people felt in Stoker's time when they contemplated the supposedly spooky unknowability of Eastern Europe with its fairy tale forests and huge wolves and its people, who were viewed in the big cities of Western Europe as what modern academics would call the other. Gothic romantic fiction and horror fiction both emerged from this era and were so close to each other that there was a lot of thematic overlap, especially with the tall, dark, and handsome archetype of the foreign lover who had a grudge or secret agenda and would destroy that which he couldn't possess.
Hmm. I wish we got more of that.
Yes, we definitely don't. I do not see Count Orlok as he's not handsome at all. He's a
Mhm.
rotting corpse. He's tall and
Yes.
dark. And he's not a lover with a grudge. He doesn't have a secret agenda. Everybody knows he wants to fucking kill the bitch.
Yeah,
There's nothing, there's no drama to it.
right. And like the first half of that review, talking about the others, the Eastern European, the lush forests and like I wish we saw more of that. I mean, there's a little bit, like, Holt's character runs into, I believe they're, like, Romanis, like, in the village before he
Mhm.
reaches. Like, there's a little bit, but none of it is enough to give you, like, I didn't get that, like, sense of, what he was saying, like, that sense of knowing what that was actually like.
No, it didn't feel foreign enough to feel foreign. They're just
Right.
kinda doing carnival tricks, and then the girl has to be topless for some reason and riding a horse.
Classic, uh I've been saying Robert Eggers. Is it Robert or Roger? I
It's
always wanna
Robert.
It's Robert, okay. Yeah, classic Robert Eggers.
He has a brother, Eggers does,
Mm.
Max Eggers, and Max Eggers did The Front Room with Brandy.
You know what's so funny? I was gonna kinda bring it up later, but so, like I keep saying, this movie was really disappointing to me, and I was looking back at all the movies I watched in 2024 and, like, looking at all the ones I saw in theaters, and I kept, like, going back to how fun of an experience it was watching The Front Room in theaters. Like, it wasn't a great movie, but that is, like, at the end of the year, one of the movies I remember most viscerally watching in theaters. Like,
That's true,
that
me too.
and I think I must have heard that because we saw the movie together, we talked about it. So I must have known somewhere in my brain that it was, an Eggers movie, but, like, my brain was comparing the 2, but for that reason. Like, at least that felt like a movie I would want to go to the theater to watch.
It was unpredictable.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And predictability isn't always a bad thing, but when it's devoid of any tension, it's not gonna do anything.
The tension and the drama that are lacking, that's another reason why the Frankenstein movie is so good. It's completely predictable, but not. You know
Yes,
you know the girl's gonna get hung, but you don't know she's gonna get flung by, like, a 72-foot rope off a rampart.
yes,
Like, you just
yes,
everything just gets dialed up,
right,
and this one does nothing that you wouldn't expect.
exactly. It is a cookie cutter, you know, Gothic movie.
We have at least one bonus Gothic. You can kinda think romantic
Mhm,
rival with the 2 men, but they don't really one of them just runs from the other one for most of the movie. I
yes.
don't think we even get a Panano. There might be a candle or 2.
I'm sure there's definitely a fireplace. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So with all this in mind, our girl, Ellen, our guy, Count Orlok, in a house, an apartment, a castle,
Mm.
and some vampires. Do you think this movie is so goth-ish, or no gothic?
I think, like, this is one of the most Gothic movies we've talked about. It sucks, but I think it is Gothic. It doesn't make me, like, happy, but I think it is.
I was gonna lean towards goth-ish just
Really?
because it gothic has a heart to it, and it has
Mm,
a drama to it that we may not explicitly talk about, but and like you said, tension.
yeah, that's
This
true.
movie is like gothic architecture. You're just looking at
Mm,
tropes.
that's a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah,
It's a cold, drafty old castle.
yeah. It's masquerading as a Gothic.
Mhm.
Yes, it's the Phantom of the Opera.
That might be more gothic than
I think the
this,
Phantom I was actually just gonna say, we should talk about the
because
Phantom of the Opera. I
that
love that
has so
movie.
much drama and
That
singing.
is the most dramatic.
Which one would we watch? The one with Gerard Butler?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but I love Emmy Rossum.
I love I genuinely have such fond memories of that movie. A lot of people hate it, but we should do that one because
I would watch it again.
okay, we'll put it on the list. That one is definitely more gothic than Nosferatu, Nosfera-POO.
I think I put the Zoom meeting is called Nosferatu.
You do.
We got our doo-doo puns in. Well, are there any memorable scenes from this movie that you
I
wanted
feel
to
like if
talk
I
about?
hadn't said it before, I probably would have brought up the little minion guy running. I love that scene. Um, I mean, the scene that always like that I think about is Willem Dafoe just setting fire to shit. Um, that that was what, it wasn't the big moment I wanted, but at least I was like, "Oh, okay, at least Willem Dafoe's having fun. At least he's trying to be dramatic and over the top." Like, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, something's happening on screen,
Exactly.
which
You're
is
right, right.
refreshing.
Yes, thank you so much for that. How about you? Yeah.
No, I remember barely anything about the movie, and I just saw it like a week ago.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, just really disappointing. I'm not writing Robert Eggers off. Like I said, I like his other movies, but um I don't really have any. I was really happy when you told me you didn't like it because it meant I would never really feel obligated to watch it again. Because
Yes,
if you had liked it, I would have been like, shit, let me try it again. And I was like
right.
dreading that. You shouldn't dread watching a movie like in that way. Like you should be scared to watch it.
I'm scared to watch it, like because you'd have to Clockwork Orange me to get me to watch this movie again.
Literally, because you'd fall asleep.
I I would practice. I always wanted to fall asleep with my eyes open. I just think that'd be really creepy. So that would be how I would practice is by watching this movie with my eyelids pinned open. I'll just lose consciousness.
Love it. Consciousness.
So have you enjoyed anything good in the last week or so?
Actually, I haven't really dabbled. The only thing I guess I would bring up is I did just finish a book. It was for actually a book club. And it's called I already forgot the name of it. The Kind Worth Killing. Let me double check that that's what it's called. Um, so last year was my year of reading a lot of thrillers, which is actually
Okay.
pretty unlike me. Um, But when I counted up all my books at the end of the year, I went, oh my God, I read a lot of thrillers. And so it's continuing this year. So yeah, it's called The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I will say, I flipped between listening to the audiobook and reading the book, because they're both available on Hoopla. Um,
Mm.
so I personally didn't love the audiobook. However, I know a lot of people do like it because um it's very like there's a couple different narrators and they are very like performative. Like they put
Hmm.
like emotion. I tend to when I listen to an audiobook, I kind of like them to be a little bland and just straightforward. It's easier
Hmm.
for me. But like one of my coworkers listened to it and she loved it. But reading it as an ebook, I did really enjoy it. There's a lot of twists and turns, it's a thriller. Um, there's a lot of points in the book where you think it's gonna end, and then you like look, at your progress and you're like, shit, it's not even close. So basically the plot of the book is a man gets on an airplane or he meets this woman at the airport before getting on the plane and then they get on the plane together. Um, and he's talking to her about his marital woes. And through the course of their meeting, she basically talks him into killing his wife. And so
Okay.
that's plot, like that's the intro. Um, and things kind of go off the rails from there. Um, but it was surprisingly good. I heard it being compared a lot to Gone Girl, and
Okay.
I kind of agree, in the sense that like Gone Girl, I think, has that same aspect of, like, just you think it's over, and it's not. It keeps going for a little bit
Mhm.
longer. Um, and I thought it was really well written. I liked the author, a lot. I guess it is a series, but I'm gonna choose to ignore that because
Mm.
it kind of ends on, like, cliffhanger, but, like, in a good thriller book way where you kinda have to
Mhm.
let your mind fill in the blanks. Um, so I'm gonna ignore the fact that it's a series. I don't think I'll pick up any of the other books in it, but I would read other books by him. So yeah, The Kind Worth Killing. I did like it.
The Kind Worth Killing on Hoopla, one of
And hoopla.
the many digital resources that may be available at your local library.
Exactly. Exactly. So what have you been enjoying?
Yes. So I went to a museum in our
Mm,
lovely state over the weekend and to visit an exhibit on mysticism and the paranormal and seances and things like that, and the history of people who think they can commune with the dead.
the PBD Essex?
Yes. Ding, ding,
I
ding.
I will let you continue, but I literally have tickets to that this coming Sunday.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
very excited for you.
Okay.
The exhibit is fun.
Mhm.
It's big. That was the
Yeah.
only thing we did at the museum because it took so much time. And are they doing live magic shows on Sunday?
Oh, I don't know.
You should check and see. We watched two magic shows from two different performers. One of them calls himself the official magician of Salem, Massachusetts. How you get that title? Is that an elected position? I have no idea. But it was fun. And completely unrelated to any of that, in the gift shop, I picked up a book. So it's in Salem, Massachusetts, which is home of witches and Moby Dick. There's a Moby Dick
Mhm.
exhibit there, which I didn't go in, and Nathaniel Hawthorne. So I picked up the Manga Classics edition of the Scarlet Letter.
It's beautiful.
Hester Prynne is this anime babe. It's really good.
Really?
I like the Scarlet Letter. I like the book
Mhm.
and I like the story, but I would never read it again because it's just an old book. And this is
Yes.
such a fun way to revisit it. And the illustrations do a good job of dialing up the drama, which
Mhm.
probably does exist in the text, but as a modern reader, I'm incapable of picking up on it. And it has really good artwork. And like any manga, it's black and white, except her Scarlet Letter is
That's
red
so fun.
on every page. So it's really well done. The artwork is great. I don't know the book well enough to know if they're using the same dialogue, but the story is the story and it's good. And there seems to be others. They have a Dracula one that I want to read.
Ooh.
Because that's another book I read. Well, I only read The Scarlet Letter a couple years ago, but I read Dracula in high school
Mhm.
and will never read it again, but I kind of want to experience it again.
Yeah.
They have some Jane Austen classics, Pride and
Ooh.
Prejudice, Emma, Sense and Sensibility. They have Jane Eyre,
Ooh.
Anne of Green Gables, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. So I recommend checking it out. There's a Frankenstein. I've only read half of the Scarlet Letter one, but it's great. I love it.
So, not to again tie this into my life, but it's so funny that you bring that up because I'm almost done with I was actually like kind of waiting to finish to recommend it on the podcast because I do really like it so far, but I'm not finished. It's a nonfiction book. It just came out this month, but I actually had it a couple of months ago through NetGalley, and it takes a while, especially like I can listen to a nonfiction book pretty fast, but reading it physically or, as an ebook takes me a while,
Mhm.
so it's been a little while, but it's called The Sinners All Bow, and it's about a murder that took place in, Fall River, the same place where Lizzie Borden happened, but in the 1800s, and it's highly, highly suspected that that murder was what influenced the Scarlet Letter.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's really, really interesting because I mean, in general, it's just, like, this very interesting story, sort of true crime, but set back in the 1800s. So what the author is doing is there was actually an author who wrote about the case way back when it happened, like a year after it happened in 18 whatever it was. And it's sort of considered the first true crime book about this murder.
Oh.
And then so now the author who is writing this one in 2025 or wrote it in 2024 is kind of like using that original author's text plus like historical documents and everything and really digging into it and applying like modern forensic and true crime and psychology to it. It's just
Oh,
wildly,
wow.
wildly fascinating. It's really well written, and even though it's taking me a while to get through, it's pretty, like, engaging. So, yeah, it's really funny that and I'm actually so happy you recommended that manga because I was doing the same thing. I was like, "I wanna reread The Scarlet Letter now," but it's such an old, dusty text. I don't know that I can actually
Yes.
get through it, so now I'm so excited. I'm gonna read that as soon as I'm done with this.
I think you'll really enjoy it.
That's so
And
funny. Oh, I'm so
I'm gonna
excited.
check out that one, The Sinners All Bow.
Yeah, yeah, it's very well done.
And that is by, where's the author's name? Kate Winkler Dawson. What a
Mm,
name.
sounds right.
And yeah, maybe you can pick it up at your local library. I put a hold on both the ebook and the audiobook. We'll see
Oh,
which
nice.
comes in first.
Yeah, I hope audio does for you because it's good, but it's a lot of information.
Yeah, sometimes I just skim stuff. Right now I'm only
Mm,
reading nonfiction books about Richard Nixon.
nice. This will
That
hopefully be
It's relaxing. I know most of the facts. It's like comfort food, my Richard Nixon biographies.
rewatching your favorite movie. You know what's gonna happen, nothing's gonna
Right.
change.
My favorite movie, which is Our Nixon, a documentary on Tubi of Nixon family
Need to
home
watch that.
movies. Yeah,
I
that one's
can
good.
I just side note, did you bring that up in our last recording? You did, right? Our Nixon?
Probably. I
Okay.
think I was talking about The Big Lever.
The Big Lever, that's what I'm thinking of. Because I put it on my Tubi list to watch, and, I was looking on Letterboxd and I saw you were one of 4 reviews.
It's one of the least seen movies that I've reviewed.
Love it so much.
I
1
was
of
like,
4.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you are, I think, hand over fist, the highest review.
Wow, probably because I got 2 likes maybe instead of just
Mm,
1.
yes.
I
Yeah,
love
so
that.
Big Lever.
I recommend that if you didn't listen to last episode.
Yep.
And Manga Classics presents The Scarlet Letter.
And an eclectic mix.
Well, thank you, Amanda, and thank you, Ghosties, for listening to us bitch about Nosferatu. Most of the time our episodes are pretty positive. So we'll think of something that we enjoyed to discuss next time. So make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you can hear that one when it comes out. And rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and share us with a friend who also hated Nosferatu.
Mhm.
They've got to be out there. Nosferatu
Yes.
haters unite. Until next time, stay ghosty. Bye bye.
Mhm.